Thank you, Wendell. Good evening, viewers. Human Nabi greetings to our Muslim brothers and sisters. We begin tonight's regional news in Brazil. Brazil's Jair Bolsonaro said recently it would be easier and cheaper to invest in a cure for COVID-19 rather than a vaccine, in a clear sign that the president is increasingly positioning himself against inoculation programs. Bolsonaro, who caught and recovered from COVID-19 in July, has repeatedly downplayed the gravity of the virus and continues to promote the anti-malarial hydroxychloroquine as a cure for the disease despite mounting evidence that it does not work. In Brazil, more than 150,000 people have died due to COVID-19, the world's second highest death toll behind the United States. Hydroxychloroquine was also heralded by U.S. President Donald Trump, but has dropped way down the list of potential global treatments for the novel coronavirus, as repeated scientific studies failed to find any significant evidence of its effectiveness. The president added, and I quote, "I'm an example. I took hydroxychloroquine and others took ivermectin," end of quote. Bolsonaro's comments came as the political battle heats up between the president and the governor of Sao Paulo, Brazil's most populous and economically advanced state. He said last week that the federal government would not buy the Chinese vaccine, contradicting his own health minister, who did say that the drug would be part of the country's immunization plan. We now turn our attention to Cuba. In the face of widening American financial restrictions in Cuba, more than 400 Western Union offices on the island will close, Cuban authorities said. It is a move that could severely restrict the flow of remittances from abroad and worsen a profound economic crisis that has led to widespread food shortages on the island. TIMEKA, a Cuban military-controlled entity that serves as a Western Union's agent on the island, announced the planned closures on Tuesday after the Trump administration took steps to prohibit the transfer of money through firms associated with the country's military. TIMEKA processes much of the remittances, billions of dollars a year, that makes up a significant part of the Cuban economy. Western Union said it would be exploring ways to comply with the new rules, which take effect in late November 2020, adding that services between the United States and Cuba would continue to operate for now. Cuba's communist government could still designate other institutions with worldwide coverage like banks to channel remittances in compliance with the new rules, analysis said. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said the new restrictions were imposed because the Cuban military has taken a cut of the remittances and uses those funds to oppress the Cuban people and to fund Cuba's interference in Venezuela. And now for a final story coming out of Haiti. If Haitian President Jovenel Moïse thought his good relations with Washington would allow him to achieve what all Haitian presidents have wanted, that is to delay elections and change the country's constitution to his liking, the Trump administration begs to differ. Moïse, in a surprise announcement last Friday, told Haitians that elections would take place only after they've had a chance to vote on a new constitution through a referendum. He did not say when such a vote would happen, or more importantly, who would draft the new constitution. But a U.S. State Department spokesperson said the U.S. is expecting elections in Haiti no later than January to renew the entire lower chamber of deputies, 2/3 of the 30-member Senate, and all local offices, including mayors. The dismissal of Parliament in early January of 2020 has left Moïse to rule by decree and the end of the mayor's term this past July, which means he's now one of just 11 elected officials in the country with a population of 11 million people. The other elected officials are the remaining 10 senators, who are in effect powerless and can't even garner quorum to assemble. Earlier this month, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said Haiti's legislative elections are now overdue. While the U.S. wanted the elections to be held as soon as technically possible, Pompeo pointed out that the Organization of American States wants them to be held by the end of January 2020. That's a wrap for tonight's regional news. Thank you for watching, and back to you, Wendell.